And I don't know what kind of message Lawrence Frank and Ty Lue and the organization are trying to send, but it was the wrong message and it was the wrong person.
12-time All-Star got the word from the Clippers today at 3 something in the morning that he's being released. Now, he hasn't been talking to Tyronn Lue. I call him Frank White. I remember when he was with the Nets, he was a good coach. But he's talking about it's nothing personal. I think he might want to say in my defense. Did you hear about this
Yeah.
story and what you feel about it? Did they do my guy dirty? He's a legend.
Listen, if it was any athlete other than Chris Paul, I would have said $2 Tuesdays at a gentleman's establishment in Atlanta got the best of them. Keep in mind, the LA Clippers were on a road trip. They're due to
Mhm.
play the Atlanta Hawks Wednesday night. That's the night that we're actually recording this podcast. But because it's CP3, somebody that is well respected, well regarded, as professional as they come, you knew it had to be bigger than that. This is not something that fell within the realm of typical disciplinary issues when it comes to players. He wasn't late to a meeting. He wasn't late for bed check. It was something bigger. And the reporting around this from Shams Charania and others says that Ty Lue and Chris Paul were at odds over the vision on how to course correct with the Clippers season. This is a team that came in with lofty expectations. They viewed themselves as a top 6 team in the Western Conference. And right now, there are only a handful of teams that have a worse record than they do. They're 5-16. So you can sense the frustration mounting from the players, the coaches, and the front office alike. And this is a roster that owner Steve Ballmer has invested a hell of a lot of money in. So to me, this is just the frustration reaching a boiling point. And this is the first big move that the LA Clippers have made. And I just hate that they're doing it at the expense of somebody that laid the foundation for what the modern day Clippers have become.
If it wasn't for Lob City, there would not be the Kawhi, the Pauls. You would not have that giant wall in your arena right now. If it
You
wasn't
wouldn't have
for
that arena because guess what?
at
You
all.
wouldn't have Steve Ballmer as your owner. Think
Mm-mm.
about this. When Chris Paul came to the Clippers in 2011, they were a laughing stock in the NBA. I mean, that was where careers went to die.
Yep.
Guys just went to the Clippers because it was the last check that they could get, and they knew that. But Chris Paul turned that place into a viable option for championship contending players to come and play. Think about it. When he got there, they were nothing. His presence there began a 14 season streak of winning seasons. 14 consecutive years they had winning seasons. Chris Paul was there for the first 6. 12-time All-Star, 11-time All-NBA performer, 9-time All-Defense. He's one of 3 players to have 20,000 points and 10,000 assists. He's top 2 in assists and steals. Bruh, how do you treat a man of that ilk in that fashion where you got to send him home in the cloak of darkness? That is the ultimate disrespect. And I don't know what kind of message Lawrence Frank and Ty Lue and the organization are trying to send, but it was the wrong message and it was the wrong person.
Yeah, we gonna call him Frank White. The way he acting like he got that blue magic. He bugging out.
Now, Frank
Now,
White at least was a winner. Frank White had a dominant organization. He had a dominant team. Where's the dominance for the Clippers? They suck.
it's beyond terrible, and to do a legend like that, like you said, how does that trickle down to the young players, to the older players? And let's talk about worth. They were worth 353 million dollars when Chris Paul got there. They're now worth 7.5 billion.
Ooh.
Now,
It's
now
safe,
one late.
it's safe to say that the LA Clippers did not pay Chris Paul what he's worth to them. They
Yeah.
might have paid him what he's worth as far as basketball players go, but it's so much bigger in terms of what Chris Paul means to that franchise.
And what he's worth is respect.
There's an air of legitimacy around the LA Clippers that just wasn't there prior to Chris Paul. It just wasn't.
Now, my last thing to you is, what do you think is going to happen now with Chris Paul? Do you think he need to go to the Lake Show? Let's make it right. David Stern blocked the first time. Let's make it right with Brian on the team and Luka.
Yeah, early January, the Lakers get an extra roster spot. So you would like to think that maybe Chris Paul slots into there because the big thing with him at this stage in his career, this stage in his life, is that he wants to be close to his family, wants to be close to his kids. He's got 2 teenagers. So I can understand wanting to be there in formative years. And I can't imagine him going to another place that's point guard needy. I just don't envision him coming to the New York Knicks as a backup point guard role. I don't envision him going to the Houston Rockets. I just don't see him leaving the left coast to go somewhere else in order to come off the bench. I just don't see that. I just felt like it was a perfect fit in terms of the role that they cast him in prior to the season starting, and with the franchise knowing that that was the place that he wanted to make his forever home. Every player, every athlete wants to have a forever home when they retire. My forever home is the New York Giants, right? I'm born and bred New Yorker. I won a chip here. Most people know me as number 99 from the Giants, the grill. I'm grateful that I have a forever home. Every athlete wants that. Not every athlete gets that, but every athlete wants that. If somebody like me that wasn't an all-pro can have a forever home with a prominent franchise in one of the biggest sports market in the country, Chris Paul absolutely deserves that for what he's meant to this league. He's been the head of the union. This was the guy that led the charge in ousting Donald Sterling when he was making racial comments off the cuff, unbeknownst to him, being recorded. Like, that was the kind of leadership that Chris Paul demonstrated. Him coming into your organization, it might ruffle some feathers, but you're ultimately going to end up to the good, because he's going to push you in the right direction, in the ways that you need to be pushed. And that's the part that's so bizarre to me. With all of the injuries that the Clippers have been facing early on this season, with Brad Beal and Kawhi Leonard, so on and so forth, you would think that they would want somebody with Chris Paul's basketball mind to be around. But the fact that Lawrence Frank and Ty Lue thought this was the look, the fact that Steve Ballmer, the owner, signed off on this type of decision, and the timing of it, that is an indictment on the entire organization. You're watching the In My Defense podcast with Canty Que. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We promise bold takes, thoughtful analysis, and real talk. Nothing's personal, but in my defense.